What is Gucci with you, my guy? This is your boy, Trip C, Chase Clarence Calloway. You are tapping in to the root of the symmetry. We are about to get in to our third episode of Thoth Reacts. In today's episode, we are about to cover a video that's about Graham Hancock. If you don't know who Graham Hancock is, I also don't really know much about who Graham Hancock is. I do know that he is an old person, quote unquote, older person. Old isn't real, but older than me. I'm 24. He is an older person up there, like Billy Carson and all these people on like Gaia, right? That the spiritual Netflix thing. Um, like amass all these people. Like all these people are like researchers doing things in their fields. And then now that Gaia Spiritual Netflix came out, it's like a really easy hub for all of them to come together and communicate and everything. So that's where most people know Graham Hancock from. I'm He's much bigger than anything we can see, as always. But I know that he is specifically interested in communicating about ancient cultures and communicating about what happened truly in the past instead of the new fake history that we have of, oh, cavemen discovered fire and then they did the Industrial Revolution. And then once they eliminated all the Native Americans, now we have progress because it's all about fire. Like, yeah, all that New World Order stuff. That's what this video he's about to be addressing. How messed up the world is because of white supremacy. He's not going to use those words. I would, which is why I'm here. Let's get in here. The Hermetic Texts in which Thoth's prophecy comes down to us, draw on ancient Egyptian wisdom traditions more than 45,000 years old. Cool. Prophecy. When we think about a prophecy, that's everything is a projection. So it's not about me actually telling the future. It's about giving a warning and communicating what I'm seeing based on the patterns. And what happens is if we're silent, if we don't speak, if we don't do anything, then the patterns will continue to play out in that trajectory. So if we don't use our communication to change the trajectory of said patterns and build a new structure, then we're going to be stuck in hell. And so that's like the balance of just knowing like your life is not already created. You are constantly creating your life based on how you're speaking, right? Based on how you're communicating. Your body is not already made. You don't come into this world made. All right, you don't come into this world as a baby like, all right, and now you're done. No, you have to communicate every day. And then your structure, your body changes based on how you communicate with yourself and the environment around you. So when we're talking about prophecies, it's just about like being able to see like, okay, well, spirits are doing this and now it's moving in this wave and this is going to happen if they keep doing this. So let's write about it. And then hopefully people, if they feel empowered enough to not let that real reality happen, then they will look at this fabricated, quote unquote, fake reality, which would be a book or something from someone's imagination. And then the more people look at that thing from someone's imagination and are like, I would rather live that. Now we bring that to real life, to the structure. It's so easy for, I guess, like hyperlogical people to like live in the world and be like, okay, this is how things are. And all books are imagination. And it's like, well, the life you're living right now was created out of books. Ever heard of the Bible? Like literally everything is about sacrificing your individuality like Jesus did to the government. That's like all the job is. So it's like you're constantly living out books and stories all the time. It's just your idea about them.
We live at a crossroads. There's no doubt. We all feel it. We all know it. I don't think it's the first time that mankind has stood at such a crossroads. But here we are facing it.
Dang, they had him blink.
And
That's some good animation. Hey,
dealing with
nice
it.
touch. They gave him one blink though,
I'm
not
going to
two.
close
Is he going to blink
with
again?
a reading from the Hermetica, from the Hermetic Texts. Hermes was the Greek version of the ancient Egyptian god Thoth. The Romans knew him as Mercury. And in a dialogue, the Hermetica, many of them are dialogues between Thoth Hermes and various pupils of his. And in one called the Asclepius, a lament is presented. And it's like a prophecy. It's a bit like the Mayan prophecy. Egypt.
Again, my projection based on what I'm perceiving from the world. This is the point of videos and why everything I'm doing like with these videos is just so long, because there's just so much and like English is so limited. And people are dealing with so much whackness. It's like to address all that. Prophecy. When you think that your life is already dictated, that's what opens you up to then feeling like you need to have your future told. And the only reason you think you need to have your future told is if you don't feel like you are creating your life. You feel like you're a creation. And not only that, you don't even feel like you're a creation of yourself. For some reason, you feel like you're created by something outside of yourself. So now you need to go outside of yourself to get prophecies, to get fortune tellers, right? To get some kind of prediction tarot card stuff where it's just like you're letting someone else project their understanding of life into you, all because you don't feel like connecting with yourself. See, because life isn't made without connections. It just takes individuals desiring to connect. So you either desire to connect with yourself or you desire to connect with something else. That's it. That's it. And you need to know that you yourself are nothing. So this is the two. You see, there's only two things to connect with in the universe, really. It's either your spirit or other spirits. And now all the things, minds and bodies, are used so spirits can feel like they're connecting. Because spirits can never actually connect. We're all separate nothingness, and we're connected in that. But the point is that if we feel like communicating our nothingness with another nothingness, we have to feel like connecting. So that's the point of going from an individual to then being a collective to then communicating our individuality, which only exists inside of a collective and can only be understood by people that we have boiled our individuality down into some like not individual thing so that we can relate. And then that allows us to build worlds and build structures with other people. So it's, boo that prophecy stuff. It's not about me being like, yeah, I'm tapped into God. I'm tapped into the true God. Because that's what a lot of like these white supremacists push. Like, oh, Thoth and Hermes, they're just like tapped into the true God. They're aspects of the true God. But it's like, bro, no, the point is that we're all individuals. Like you're colonizing me. Making me part of your thing. Like, oh yeah, those guys, they're part of our imagination. How dare you?
Stand as a metaphor for the whole world in this. And to my mind, for the world in our time, this lament, this prophecy is speaking directly to us. So it's Hermes speaking, and he's saying to Asclepius this: do you know, Asclepius, that Egypt is an image of heaven? Or to speak more exactly, in Egypt, all the operations of the powers which rule and work in heaven are present in the earth below. In fact, it should be said that the whole cosmos dwells in this our land, as in a sanctuary.
Center communication, baby. Come get with Chikatet. This is what interdimensional communication really is. Like, this is like the point of any civilization I'm building, is for all spirits to come and communicate their imaginations and feelings freely. And that's how we're going to build anything super awesome. That's how we truly level up. The moment you're trying to control communication, you're obviously trying to control what cannot be controlled, which is the externalization of spirit. So unwise, but it shows that you have a desire to control what people see, because we can only see what we communicate. So the fact that I'm using English right now means that it's already been happening. We've already been heavily controlled in how we can communicate, and now we're forced to only relate and build the world of the light white supremacists that have us using these labels to connect.
And yet, since it is fitting that wise men...
Hermes, when they talk about like Hermes being messenger of the gods and everything, yeah, that can look like superpowers and all that, because like the point of physical reality is to ground how infinite we are. So anything is possible. It's just about the speed and the time, the belief, the water that gets put into that earth. And to make Hermes more relatable, it's not about Hermes taking the Caduceus and flying across the sky and everything. Although, I mean, clearly Thor gypped that, so ideas. Everything's real in our imaginations. And where else did all this come from if not our imaginations together? Whatever. The point of Hermes is that, and I do this as Chase, so it's like going into a meditative state, I can communicate with whoever I want. So that's what Hermes was known for physically. Like not the mythological Hermes, like, oh, he flies around, he's a son of Zeus. But real life Hermes is known for going into meditative trances and communicating with spirits that are not in human bodies down here. And that's the point of just being able to be a bird. Then that's where Hermes and Thoth, both expressions of me, is all about just freedom of being, freedom of communicating, freedom of navigating the universe and expressing your infinity as you see fit. And it's just like, that's what wisdom is. So then that's where I'm naturally all of that stuff and in that space as well. Because so many spirits, everyone desires to express themselves. It's just about why, and how, and all these questions. That's actually like the why stuff that it seems that most people, most spirits will just be happy for eons, not caring about. And I only care about sharing, showing you how infinitely individual you are, so that you can tap into your nothingness space and then just be way more of who you're supposed to be, and then channel that into this realm, and you get to have an awesome life. And everyone around you has an awesome life too, because the more you love yourself, the more you're in tune with yourself, the more you'll be able to love others and be in tune with them, and then thus them you, and it'll all be from a healthy space. So yeah, that's the point of Hermes, being a messenger that's like, hit some DMT, get that mental Merkaba, fly away. Go talk. Go party in the astral realm. All right, this is Earth realm. All right, it's dense. It's locked in here. Let me just get into the water cycle real quick. All right, we got fire, water, air, earth. All right, thanks to the air, I can get in the water and experience that water way more tangibly, because then it's all macro, micro. It's not just like is. You feel me? We're getting there, bro. We're getting there. We're always getting there. We're always getting there. Will we ever be there? We might just always be getting there. Pretty exciting.
Have knowledge of all events before they come to pass. You must not be left in ignorance of what I will now tell you. There will come a time when it will have been in vain that Egyptians have honored the Godhead with heartfelt piety and service, and all our holy worship will be fruitless and ineffectual. The gods will return from earth to heaven. Egypt will be forsaken, and the land which was once the home of religion will be left desolate, bereft of the presence of its deities. O Egypt, Egypt, of thy religion nothing will remain but an empty tale, which thine own children in time to come will not believe. Nothing will be left but graven words, and only the stones will tell of thy piety. And in that day men will be weary of life, and they will cease to think the universe worthy of reverent wonder and worship. They will no longer love this world around us,
This doesn't sound like me. It's weird, because like the point of the message is that it is me, and it is. That's the problem with English. and like the words that they're using, claiming that I'm saying. Because the gist of the message is true, of me talking about the rise and falls of empires based on the desires that they're lost in. I would not really be using the words like religion. So it's just like a lot of these words throw me off. That's the point of having lived this life and develop my own relationship with these words, so I can just like reframe and recontextualize everything. Like, okay, no, it's like boom, like I would never use it for that then. Like now that I've built this relationship with this word, I know that I would not use that word to describe this part of spirit, right? Like when we're looking at nothingness, I'm like that word, no. But this is the issue with language, is that if you can control how spirits label themselves, then you control them. So most people, for example, hate nothingness. They think very negatively about nothing because they're so obsessed with being something. And that shows the desire of English and everything. So this is just like, I wouldn't say like the but the point of the message is, it's there. Yes, true. We're just talking about, again, the rise and downfall of empires. Egypt was around for a very incredibly, oh my gosh, so long time. So, and like it technically still is, you feel me? So it's like, it's not, but like right.
Work of God, this glorious structure which he has built, this sum of good made up of many diverse forms.
So the point of this message is that it's literally Graham Hancock talking about how I, as Hermes, am addressing the fact that colonialism, the Industrial Revolution, this whole New World Order thing is going to take over the globe based on how ignorant people are and how fearful of death they are, and how that thus makes them hateful towards each other and anything that the entities who are ruling over them tell them to hate. And then that's what leads into slavery, racism, all this genocide against indigenous peoples, and stealing everything that they made so that you can just live whatever, all this Westworld life stuff. So that's the point. Again, it's just so many details of like how they translate this and being like, this is what he said. It's like, I wouldn't use these words.
Instrument whereby the will of God operates in that which he has made, ungrudgingly favouring man's welfare. This combination and accumulation of all the manifold things that call forth the veneration, praise, and love of the beholder. Darkness will be preferred to light, and death will be thought more profitable than life. No one will raise his eyes to heaven. The pious will be deemed
Law. That's so funny. That's everything I'm talking about with decolonize your face. If I'm about to really project Chase into it and make it work, no one will raise his eyes to heaven because everyone's looking at a phone and now their cheese all blocked because their teeth are all just like falling into their neck, and then they get their bone skeletal issues exacerbated by having braces and other metal things just like put in their body and confined tighter and deeper, and then it causes more problems. That's how braces messed up me. So that's, just straight up the time. People are literally not even standing up straight because they're so focused on metal. They're so focused on something outside themselves because they're in this state of, I need to get freedom based on how I slave away. That's how the indigenous peoples had their land stolen and just taken over by all these very hateful Europeans who are focused on getting freedom by being slaves. They're like, okay, I don't feel free on my own, so I'll feel free once I give up my freedom to this British government, basically. And then that's where that government can be like, oh, cool, thank you for your freedom. We'll use it like this. And here we are.
things. The madman will be thought a brave man, and the wicked will be esteemed as good. As for the soul, and the belief that it is immortal by nature, or may hope to attain to immortality, as I have taught you, all this they will mock, and even persuade themselves that it is false. No word of
They drew these injections in. So, hey, bro, we already see they drew whole injections into the baby. I really do not need to hear any of that anti-waxer, because it's just like, that's just straight up. Like, everything inside of these syringes, every time you get like an injection from them like this, it's full of heavy metals. Like, just straight up, it's full of metal. Metal that's causing a lot of issues inside of your body. Metal that is not vibrating at the same frequency of your natural flesh. Metal that is meant to actually create more issues inside of you so that they can trap you on the medical system. So their metal makes you need medicine. And then they can mediate your life, basically. And it's always up to them to be like, oh, you can't live without us. You can't live without us. You need this new injection. Oh my gosh, you're really dying. You're gonna die this time. Then they project all their ideas into you. Like, man, you're so weak. You're so weak. You need our technology. And that's how these white supremacist doctors have just like been succeeding, right? It's about using the whole population that is lost in these desires. So when people are looking down, all right, get into decolonize your face. Hop into chase your genes, okay? Because when people are looking down, their teeth get all messed up in their skeleton. And what happens is that this blocks all the flow of your chi and your blood and energy inside of your body. And if you don't move your teeth back into place and recorrect your spine, then you're going to age way faster and have really horrible health problems over time. And this is what the issue is. It's not that people naturally die or whatever in that way. You know, we do, of course, but it's not about how people naturally grow old and grow decrepit and not mobile. The reason people are having so many health issues is because they're being forced to sit and stare at technology and focus on getting money, whatever that is. And then they're using their body improperly, doing all these things. And that creates a mangled spine and crooked teeth. And then the system comes in and doubly worsens things by being like, hey, we have these metal contraptions. Just go into debt $5,000 so that we can glue metal inside of your bones and pull them tighter and then rip your other wisdom teeth out. And then your skeleton's still messed up and it will never get better because you're still just constantly sitting. And all you did was mutilate yourself because you got so uncomfortable inside of that. The system convinced you that that was natural and that somehow you were born that way. When the problem was how they had you living in school. This is wild. So yeah, this is what I would be writing about. But it's just now I'm living it. So now I have all the like very hard details of how people have their desires weaponized against them. Because there's just infinite layers of that, bro. You know, because it's all based on imagination and the system that you built. It's just then logic, right? Getting into the mind of what makes sense. So that's how numbers are used to numb her, aka remove a spirit from their feeling.
That it is false. No word of reverence or piety, no utterance worthy of heaven will be heard or believed. And so the gods will depart from mankind, a grievous thing, and only evil angels will remain, who will mingle with men, and drive the poor wretches into all manner of reckless crime, into wars and...
Whoever made these drawings, everyone, all the artists, double high five. That's wild. These slap. These are so good. These are so good. I love it. Very creative. We don't even need to get into the pharmaceutical industry. We actually don't, because we already know. Like, it's literally everything I just said and more about how they create things that actually cause more problems. Like when they tell you that, oh, this medication, it cures depression, but a side effect may be thoughts of killing yourself. I've literally seen, like, you've seen those commercials. If you haven't, then comedy. You have, though. If you haven't, then good for you. Most of you have. I know I have a lot, where it's literally an anti-depression medication commercial, yet they then have all this list of side effects, where it's like the side effects are anxiety, tremors, night terrors, throwing up erratically, thoughts of suicide. And like that, like literally, like it's so fun. They'll really put that in there. They'll really put like in antidepressant medication commercials, this may cause, thoughts of suicide. So, and it's so wild how logic works, because are those side effects or are those just effects? Pretty wild, because most people, like, that's how the commercials manipulate you. You are like thinking that you're watching this and getting this medication for one purpose, when they then get to say, oh, the side effects are this and that. Well, it sounds like those all, what percentage of those are part of the effect? Like, how can you say that's a side effect? Because then that's the thing where they will just take the medication that was sold for that one effect, and based on how much it causes these side effects, they'll sell it in lieu of that side effect instead. So like this medical system literally will just like create chemicals and market it for one thing, say it has a bunch of side effects, and then test it on people live, and then just sell the same exact chemical for a different reason. And it's just never ending. What are you going to do? Hold them accountable? You're the product.
Robberies and frauds and all things hostile to the nature of the soul. Then will the earth tremble and the sea bear no ships. Heaven will not support the stars in their orbits. All voices of the gods will be forced into silence. The fruits of the earth will rot. The soil will turn barren, and the very air will sicken with sudden stagnation. All things will be disordered.
Sounds like this planet being terraformed into Mars. Whatever.
And awry, all good will disappear. But when all this has befallen Asclepius, then God, the creator of all things, will look on that which has come to pass, and will stop the disorder by the counterforce of his will, which is the good.
More Christian story stuff. The idea that you are just at the whim of something else changing you. You're God. This is so frustrating. Like how, no, I'm not writing like that. I'm not talking about like, and then don't worry though. Because although everyone is creating all these bad things to be happening, someone's going to step in. Someone's going to step in and make good things happen, because that person is actually in control. It's a super weird, like, superhero desire. It's like that Heavenly Father's superhero desire. Like, oh, I'm creating a life that's sad, scary, and horrible. Please, someone save me. Like, bro. Like, you have to be out of tune with the fact then that you put yourself in a situation to be in this human body, experiencing things that you don't want to experience. And it's just like, okay, why are you experiencing things that you don't want to experience? Where's the wisdom in that? Because that's the wisdom. That's the water. That's the darkness. All right. It's in the feelings. It's in looking at the things you don't want to see. That's reflecting instead of projecting. So this is, yeah, like to say that Hermes is writing like, oh, don't worry, like all this stuff, all this bad things will happen because these people will be creating this kind of reality, but like bad stuff is just happening, and it's like you can't really do anything about it then, but like God will stop it. It's not individual enough for me.
Call back to the right path those who have gone astray. He will cleanse the world of evil washing it away with floods, burning it out with the fiercest fire, and expelling it with war and pestilence.
Okay. So they're saying that I'm literally here being like, yeah, God is going to bro, that's just more biblical stuff. This is too biblical. They keep just projecting their revelation biblical Armageddon things into everything. Like, it wouldn't matter what I wrote. It wouldn't matter what I wrote. This is the point of art, right? When you're an artist, you can create something and feel like you got your message across, but the viewer is only ever going to be able to perceive your art based on how far they're able to project into it up to that point. So if you're dealing with someone who's just constantly thinking about like genocide and crazy, horrible things happening and like revelation and tribulation and revelation and getting some sort of, man, like not redemption, like what is the word? Just like getting punished for your sins, basically, like always being like scared of judgment. And then that's how you like judge others. It's 1222 as I'm saying this. That's the number 7. That's not the judgment number, but it is a number for thought, for light, and how one consciously separates himself from everything. So in general, when you're just like focused so hard on like judging yourself and like negative things like that, then it also creates a situation where you want to be saved from those things because that's not what you're really supposed to be feeling. But then it's like that leads to stuff like this, and that's very much many religious mindsets. So no to that. You know, it's just again like this weaponized truth. We're finding it.
And thus he will bring back his world to its former aspect, so that the cosmos will once more be deemed worthy of worship and wondering reverence. And God...
Yeah, see, like, so that the cosmos once more will be deemed worthy of reverence and worship. Like, bro, it's so lost. This is lost. These are like actually lies at this point. Like, this is lost. No. We're gonna say a hard no. Cosmos worthy of worship. It's like, I get it though, because let's project positivity or just making it work into it. So like they're trying to say that. Let me go back. Jeez.
Those who have gone astray. He will cleanse.
So God will call back those who have gone astray. So the vibration of the planet will rise again, and people will start ascending based on how they hopefully fast and connect with their individual spirits so that they can level up and express themselves and impress themselves and then travel infinitely. Cleanse the world of evil. Okay, evil. And evil being living backwards. So like when we see climate change or just like the destruction of this planet, it's because of evil. It's because the way that people live is evil. The way that people live is backwards. So now God cleansing evil, the spirit is not backwards. The spirit is not evil. The ego is evil. Ego is evil. The spirit is the superhero that the evil is like always fantasizing about, like getting to fight against and like beat, but never wants to beat, because then like where else would it keep getting to like level up? And that's like the whole thing with your thoughts versus your emotion in that relationship.
Floods, burning it out with the fiercest
Floods,
fire,
emotion.
and expelling it with war and pestilence.
And
thus he will bring back his world to its former aspect, so that
again, so when they say God and then he, we're going to say spirit and you. So when you get in touch with your spirit, now you can be God and create reality. And that means that when you're creating reality, you're going to stop supporting evil. And the more you're in tune with your spirit, the more you can create reality and not support evil. And now you're living, and now you have goodness.
Cosmos will once more be deemed worthy of worship reverence.
And then that's where I guess like the cosmos is just like deemed worthy, as in, okay, we're doing things that are actually worth seeing, worthy of me, worth seeing. Like it's actually, it makes sense. That's what worthy is then. That's how, like, cool, positive way to put worthy. All right, it makes sense in a positive way. Because of course everything can make sense depending on your perspective. But on a cosmic perspective, it doesn't make sense to enslave others.
God, the maker and maintainer of the mighty fabric, will be adored by the men of that day with continuous songs of praise and blessing. Such is the new birth of the cosmos. It is a making again of all things good, a holy and awe-inspiring restoration of all nature. And it
You're saying all the cosmos. Like, why are you trying to, how can you even apply it to all the cosmos, dude? What a desire, like everywhere, just everything. Like, you are so limited. There's so many worlds and realms that have nothing to do with this. Like, bro, everything's just connected by spirit. Like, there's so many universes that are separate from each other, but because they're connected by spirit, it's still one universe. You just got to be nothing. So, like, they're
brought inside the process of time by the eternal will of the Creator. I don't know whether we're going to face some terrible global catastrophe or not. I certainly hope not. I hope it will not come down to misery and horror, awful, awful things there's enough of that in the world already. But I do remember what all the ancient texts say. There isn't a single flood.
it's all the time. What are you talking about? But I get it.
There isn't a single story of the destruction of past civilizations that don't implicate humanity in the story somewhere. Our own behavior, what we do, is part of what we're bringing down on the world right now.
Why is this world ran by big ass kids? I don't understand how you can be so old and like sugarcoat things in such a way that's like, we can't ignore the fact that what humans do is a part of how humans affect the environment. Like, and it's just like adults talk like this my whole life where I'm like, bro, it's obviously the point. Like, can you address it? Can you address it? Address it. Address the fact that humans create reality. Like, it's like so removed from like your God. They just literally don't want you to even know that you create your life. They're like keep trying to like make it a conversation. Like, oh man, how possible is it that the way you act dictates your life? Like, bro, stop acting like that's even. That makes me really frustrated. That actually makes me very frustrated. Like, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's been a problem my whole life, and like I'm actually not about it. I didn't realize how much I wasn't about it until like especially now, I guess. Cuz this is how these issues keep going on. Is that all these older people, just everyone who appears to have authority, they like speak like they're just not really in, like they're just actually missing the point somehow. Like it's, or they're just not actually hitting it. They're just not actually making the point. Like they're actually just like fluff stuff. It's all fluff. Like it's like, here's the point, but then it's like fluff. Like they just throw fluff on top of the point and no one can see the point. They can just see the fluff. And now it's like softer and it's like, oh yeah. And it feels better, but it's like, but you have nothing to stand on. Like you not, bro, you did not actually change things. Like, dude, like clearly, like it's like the nuance. Like I get it. They're literally showing how humans are creating landfills here. Like, how can you literally not believe in climate change? And how can you literally not think that humans are changing the environment around them? It's so insane to me. Like so many intelligent people, like I'll just be talking to them and at some point, like it's like their ego, they have this desire to like not believe that. And like we'll just hit this wall. They're like, oh no, humans can't really change the environment. Like what? What's the point of hands? You are capping.
What we are manifesting in the world, that is what is coming towards us. We
Right.
are authors of this thing, and we can change the story if we want to change it. I firmly believe that.
Thanks, Graham.
Are we looking at the traces of a forgotten episode in human history? I think so. I think that's what's going on here.
That wasn't anything personal like Graham. This is me just really, I mean, the way you phrase it, triggered me, made me upset thinking about just like everything growing up and just the way that politicians talk, especially like just how like good they are at like spreading genocide while acting like they're not, and acting like you're not for supporting them, but that they do get to kill you. They do have the right to kill you if you don't support them, but doing their best to somehow make you not feel that way is so wild.
And because we've forgotten it, because we are a species with amnesia, because we are so much a mystery to ourselves, perhaps it's because of that that we're so lost and so troubled today, so haunted by a sense of something missing, something that we need to.
You need to fast. You eat too much. You're focusing on too many things outside of yourself. It's like that same stuff, consuming too much light, and that light has horrible vibrations created by corporations meant to keep you enslaved so that you can build their imaginations.
About ourselves. For the ancient Egyptians, the essential mystery of human existence concerned our spiritual essence. That we are participating in this theatre of experience that we call life in the world in an immense endeavour aimed at the perfection of the soul. I've talked with shamans in the Amazon, and when I've asked them, what do you think is the problem with the world?
I like this guy.
What's the problem with the West? They say it's very simple. You've severed your connection with spirit. You've cut the link. And you have to restore that link if you're going to move forward from here. You can't move forward from the place you're in if you don't restore the connection to spirit. And that seems to me the most fundamental
Water fast.
That all of us now
Do
now
DMT.
face. Not these exterior trappings of
Do those both together.
power that have brought such horror and misery to the world. This is the moment of crossroads that we stand at. None of us can effect changes on a macro level. It's impossible to do so. But we can make changes on a micro level. We can make changes in our own lives.
So how dare they say that? None of us can affect change on a macro level. So that's a belief that they now want to instill at you at the end. Don't believe that. Hey, you can totally instill any change you want on any level you desire. It just takes your mind, and it just takes some time. That's it. The moment someone's telling you that you can't do something, you have to believe that to be true. Not when you're rolling with Tahuti, baby. Nah.
We can make changes in our immediate surroundings. Changes for the better. Changes driven by love.
Okay, look, but all lost. See, like, not it. Because love is what got us here. Desire and love is the same thing. Like, you need to be more clear. Love for what? Because right now, people love convenience. People love slavery. People love genocide. People love supporting war. People love entertainment. People love feeling like they can do whatever they want and then put their negativity onto someone else so that they can still live out whatever desires. That's what love is. Like, so it's still love. Like, love is just it's just light then. Like, it's people being lost in love that got us up to this point. So you need to change that. Change is driven by empathy. How about that? Because, like, love and empathy are two different things. Like, the colonization of the Americas was for the love of Europe's desire to take over indigenous land. Cool. That's lovely. But if they had empathy, then they would know that they would never want someone to come colonize, grape, and enslave them. So they wouldn't do it to someone else. But they didn't have that empathy. They just had love. Love is the one. All right? That empathy is a two energy. Okay, but they're not water. That New World Order, the caveman fire, that's the singular projection. All right, change is driven by love. They can only speak on this level, even. So, and again, it's the English language. So it's like his relationship with the word love. You know, this is the problem when we're using words. Like, love is what got us here. So it's not about change is driven by love. All right, like I get you have a positive relationship with love, but it's also like love is desire. It's just what you want. Empathy.
So overwhelming is the notion of global destruction. No, I can't stop that, but I can stop what I'm doing to contribute to it. And if we all do that, then I believe a huge change in consciousness will come, and the world can move on. And
For sure.
We can look forward to a future for our children and our children's children, and once again bring this bright, beautiful, jewel garden of a planet, bring it back to the place it should be in our lives.
Every soul is like a raindrop that falls from the sky into one vast ocean of consciousness. Most raindrops hit the surface and make a small ripple that fades away. But some ripples become waves. What are they saying right now? Your soul creates its own individual consciousness. You don't... What? Okay, so you're a soul. All right, and what's the consciousness then? I'm just going to make that work. Consciousness would be the simulation that you're conscious of. So you feel like restricting your awareness to a certain world. That's the point of your soul. So your individual perspective of a spirit looks at the universe. You're like, okay, I want to be conscious here. I want to be conscious here. And then that's where you're amassing special experiences. So when they're saying your soul drops into consciousness and makes a wave, some people believe in themselves enough to like make huge waves. Other people don't believe in themselves. So then they like don't really make an impact. And then they just kind of add their soul to the water. And then that's how all life simulations grow anyway. So this has been episode 3 of Thoth Reacts. Peace out. Much love. Stay easy. Mwah. Mwah. Shout out Graham Hancock. He's pretty cool.